This is an exploration of the prominent bony landmarks of the right side scapula with a lateral to medial view. This is the superior angle of the scapula. This is the inferior angle. Running between the superior angle and inferior angle, we have the medial border of the scapula. Three muscles attach onto the medial border of the scapula. The levator scapulae attaches along the superior angle and down the medial border approximately to the level of the root of the spine of the scapula, which is where the spine of the scapula, we can see a bit of it peeking out right here, meets the medial border of the scapula. Then at the level of the root of the spine of the scapula, attaching onto the medial border of the scapula, we have the rhomboid minor. And then below that, we have the attachment site for the rhomboid major. From the inferior angle running up along here, we have the lateral border of the scapula. Right over here, we see the glenoid fossa of the scapula, which is the joint surface that articulates with the head of the humerus, forming the glenohumeral joint, known in lay terms as the shoulder joint. Just above it, we have the supraglenoid tubercle, which is the attachment site, proximal attachment, for the long head of Biceps brachii. And just below it, right here, we have the infraglenoid tubercle, the proximal attachment for the long head of Triceps brachii. Also attaching onto this lateral border of the scapula, at the superior 2/3 of it, we have the Teres minor, and then the inferior 1/3 of it going down onto the inferior angle, we have the attachment site for the Teres major. Up in here, peeking out just a bit, we can see the superior border of the scapula. The inferior belly of omohyoid attaches onto the superior border. Here we have the supraspinatus fossa, the proximal attachment for the supraspinatus muscle. Down here, we have the infraspinatus fossa, the proximal attachment site for the infraspinatus muscle. Here we see the coracoid process of the scapula. Three muscles attach onto the coracoid process. They are the short head of Biceps brachii, the coracobrachialis, and the pectoralis minor. Here we have the acromion process of the scapula. The trapezius and deltoid attach onto the acromion process. We mentioned before the spine of the scapula. We can only see a bit of it right here. The spine of the scapula runs from the acromion process to the medial border of the scapula, and attaching onto the spine of the scapula, we also have the trapezius and deltoid muscles. So this was a nice exploration of the prominent bony landmarks of the right side scapula with a lateral to medial view. Now that we've reviewed all of the prominent bony landmarks here, let's quiz ourselves. Pause the screen for a moment and see how many of the landmarks you can name. And now, if you would like, pause the screen again and see how many of the attachment sites you can name.